In today's video, I'll be breaking down the best mouse and keyboard settings for Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3. We'll cover the most effective sensitivity, optimal keyboard movement settings, whether you should be using edit on release, and the top keybinds used by pro players like Cold and Ritual. Also, before this video starts, I'd appreciate if you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I'm trying to get 2,000 subscribers. This is the current sub count right here. But with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. All right, we're just going to start off by opening our settings. We're going to go into mouse and keyboard. So invert mouse view, we're just going to keep that off. XY axis sensitivity, these are both going to be the same for me. It's just 7.4. I use 800 DPI. But if you're trying to find your best XY sensitivity, I would just use a sensitivity between around probably 6.8 and 8. But you guys can just change that depending on if you guys like to play slow or fast. Targeting sensitivity, mine's just 49. And scope sensitivity is 20. You guys can just change this to your liking. I'll just use default, and then if you guys don't like it, if it's too slow, too fast, you guys can just move it down. Building sensitivity and editing sensitivity, this is just if you want your sensitivity to slow down when you're building or your sensitivity to be faster. This is just what mine is. You guys can just go in and change that. First person, we're not going to be going over any first person settings. Now moving on to keyboard movement, I do have custom diagonals enabled because I just want controller movement. I used to play controller and it's more comfortable for custom diagonals. You guys don't need this, but you guys can also try this setting. The best keyboard movement that I've found multiple pros use and the settings I use is just forward diagonal angle is going to be set to 60, strafe angle is going to be set to 73, and backwards diagonal angle is going to be set to 135. You guys just tune this to your liking, but these are just what I use. I would start using these ones and then change it depending on what you like. Scrolling down, this is just default settings that I don't use. Now, before we go into keyboard binds, I'm just going to go into gaming binds. Movement, I have sprint toggle to off. I just like holding down my sprint key. If you guys don't like doing that, you guys can just set it to on. Automatically open doors, this just has to be on so you guys don't have to click your interact button. Mental activation is on hold jump, and then horror activation is on press jump. Like I said, these are just however you prefer. Hold swap pickup is on. Toggle targeting is set to off. Auto equip better weapons is on. Mark danger targeting, these are just like whatever settings you want. Preferred item slots is just what you would prefer. So if you pick up a gun and then you want to say I pick up a shotgun, it goes to my first slot, but I like shotguns in my last slot. You guys can just set your last slot to be shotgun, but mine's AR because that's what I prefer. My shotgun's my first one, SMG is my second, Zumba item is my third, and utility is my fourth. Building, reset building choice, these should both be on. Turbo building has to be on so you can build faster unless you want to build like it's 2019. Editing, simple edit is off. If you guys just started mouse and keyboard, you guys could use simple edit. It's just going to affect you long term. If you're just a beginner player, you just want to be able to edit and you don't want to have to practice the game every single day to have good edits, you guys can have simple edit on. But if you're trying to become better at the game, pro level, stuff like that, I would recommend having simple edit off. Disable pre-edit option is on. Confirm edits, I just have it on edit on release. You guys can also have it on both or just reset. I'll just have it on edit on release because that's just the simplest way unless you want to learn double editing binds, which is what we're not going to go over today. And also probably not have it on both because what we're going to do is we're going to use ScrollWheelReset inside of our keyboard binds. All of these just don't matter. Rest of those settings. Now we're just going to go into our keyboard binds. Now movement is just my normal W, A, and D. Force walk is both these settings. I don't have force walk on, so I just have these disabled. Crouch taps a slide hold, mine just on shift. Sprint is V, jump is space bar. My fire is left mouse and my target's right mouse. Reload is R, pickaxe is Z. Weapon slot 1 is my mouse wheel up. Weapon slot 2 is X. Weapon slot 3 is 3. Weapon slot 4 is C4. Weapon slot 5 is my mouse click and uses E. For these weapon slots, I just use whatever you prefer. Some people use as weapon slot 1, they like to use E. You guys can do that if you really need it and if you really prefer it. Also, some people use scroll wheel pickup, so you can just set use to scroll wheel. Like I said, I don't like that. I just have mine on E, and then weapon slot 1 is going to be my scroll wheel up. To set these, I just use the most comfortable ones. So for me, whatever button you're most comfortable with, that should be your weapon slot 1. Now we're just going to scroll down other way to building. Crouch while holding, tap slide, this is just going to be shift as well. Wall is my mouse button 4 and floor is my mouse button 5. These are just side buttons. If you guys don't have a mouse with side buttons, you guys need to invest in it. I have a Razer Hyperspeed V4, so mine has side buttons. Most mouses nowadays have side buttons if it's a gaming mouse. If you're using an office mouse, it's not going to have side buttons. If you don't have side buttons, you guys can just set it to what you're most comfortable with. Either you can set it to Q, have wall as Q and floor as Z. You just want them to be out of the way. You don't want to have your wall and your floor the same binds as what your fingers take up on W, A, and D. So when you're building, like your walls or floors, you want to be able to use all your directional keys at the same time while you're building. My stair is Q, roof is control, so I can press that with my pinky. Again, this shouldn't be your W, A, and D fingers. I just hit mine with my pinky, just control, because you want to be able to move around while you're building again. Trap is caps lock. You guys don't really use traps anymore. I don't think there's even traps in this new season. Place build is also left mouse button. Repair is G. Rotate building is R. Change material is right mouse button. Editing is F. And scroll wheel down. This is just for scroll reset. We'll go more into detail when I'm done finishing with the rest of these settings. Like I said, anything that has to do with crouching and sliding is just going to be my normal crouch button, which is shift. Select building edit is going to be left mouse. Reset building edit is going to be right mouse. So like I said, going into scroll reset, you can either have this as scroll wheel up or scroll wheel down. It's just more comfortable for me personally to have it as scroll wheel down. It just doesn't really matter. You must have scroll reset unless, like I said, you're going to be using the scroll reset feature here, which is just making this on reset or both. But using scroll reset is a million times better than using the editing option. If you guys did enjoy that video, I'd appreciate if you guys hit the like and subscribe button. That should really help me out. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're really close. Pretty sure it's about like 140 more subscribers. That's all we need. But yeah, watch these videos right here.